Right, so considering we did a video on the Monster Hunter Wilds, I thought it would only be fair to do a tier list on the monsters of World and Iceborne, so kind of what started off the console era of Monster Hunter, and it's also kind of what cemented Monster Hunter into, proper media. Before it was always been such like a niche franchise. Although it did have its cult following, it never really took to the heights of where it is now without World, and we probably wouldn't have got Wilds if it weren't for World. So yeah, a lot of monsters here. Probably going to have to split it into 2 videos because there is a lot more than I remember. To be honest, some of these, when I was trying to sort them out in the order that I think you fight them in, may have got it wrong, but there is a lot more than I remember. So without further ado, we are going to start with Great Jagras. Now, same sort of thing that I said last time with Chatacabra and Wilds. Great Jagras is quite a good early starter monster. I do love the raptor monsters, the sort of start monsters they do in the previous entries before World and Wilds. But I'm glad they're sort of like starting to go towards a different sort of style rather than just the same raptors that we get. So Great Jagras is great. He's a lot bigger, and he did actually surprise me when I first fought him. Like, you know, normally we get quite small starter monsters like the raptors, but yeah, Great Jagras is huge. I love the move he does where he like swallows the Aptonuff hole, and he's like sort of stands up and like eats it down. He's really cool. There's not really much to say. He's got the pack, which, you know, most starter monsters do have anyway. But it has been a while since I've fought a lot of these monsters, so if bits that I miss out or I, forget to say, then it's because I haven't played World in a while, but I did play a lot of it, so I think I've fought a lot of these monsters to give a decent opinion on them, but I think a lot of people agree with that, where Great Jagras is, it's fine. Kulu-Ya-Ku, I do have a soft spot for this guy. I do like my birds, and he does resemble kind of like a terror bird kind of thing going on. I do like how he grabs the egg and then he can also grab the part and hit you with that, so that's cool. He also has the Final Fantasy collab. I know this obviously isn't when you fight him at the start, but I like when he picks up that big crystal and he turns big. That was super sick. But yeah, he just does a lot of stun, just an easy fighting monster. I'm surprised this is actually after you fight Great am I saying Gyros or Great Jagras? Great Jagras. But not much to say. He is really cool. I'm going to put him there. I do like his design. I know most people aren't really a fan. It's just a chicken. And I'll be honest, I don't know if we really did need it. But I like him. I think he's alright. He's a cool little guy. But yeah, I'm going to try and be a lot harsher with a lot of these monsters in this video, because I feel like Wilds I just put so much in like A and S tier. Even though it does have the best roster. But World, on the other hand, we'll see how we get on. Puku Puku, I'm going to put you there. I do really like this monster. It's very colourful, it's got a personality. It sort of introduces everyone to the poison. It's got the long tongue, which is just super cool. And it's really weird. It's like tails, almost like a rainbow colour. It's really cool. I think it has the armour that makes you look like you're wearing a sort of ghillie suit. I think you kind of look like a sniper with it. I can't remember. Its weapons are quite sick. I do like the great sword. As far as great swords go, it's pretty decent. I think I did main great sword throughout most of World, so I didn't try a lot of the other weapons that I did in Wilds. But yeah, he's alright. He's cute. I like him. Right, so Barroth. Now, I have a bit of a history of Barroth because it was actually like my first wall ever in Monster Hunter. I'm sort of talking back to like Monster Hunter 3. I have a soft spot for it. I didn't like it when I first saw it, but I think it is actually quite a cool monster. It does the thing where it like shakes and the mud comes off, and it does like the charge, and it has like the kind of whistle sound effect as if it's like a train almost, when it's about to like charge and hit you. Has a really cool turtle with Gyrotodus coming up next. I know that doesn't really say much about the monster, but I do really like that turtle. It's actually like the first turtle that I think you see in the game, and to be honest, it is one of the better ones. where it like wraps round Baroff and it like bites his neck. I don't know where to put this, because it's one of those monsters where I kind of love them and hate them at the same time. I thinking of maybe putting some of these down, maybe like that. Although there are some monsters here that I do hate. I'll leave it at that for now, but we will review this sort of and go through it and see, like, the stuff's going to get moved around, but I think I do like it better than Puka Puku. I don't know. Nah, I like Puka Puku. Now, this monster is the first F monster ever. Everyone hates it, and it deserves the hate. This monster is just... it sucks. I think Piscine Wyverns, I think is how you pronounce it in general, are a really weak category, and it probably is the worst category of monsters in Monster Hunter, unfortunately. There are some good ones, but not many, but it's just a mudfish. I mean, with these mud monsters, there's only so far you can really go, and a lot of them unfortunately do suck. In Rise, you had Almudron, and that was such a waste of a Leviathan, but I don't know, the only thing it's got going for it is, unfortunately, it's Turf War with Baroff. I just don't really know what else is to say about it. It sort of... It doesn't even really have, like, as a fish, swimming capabilities. Like, it's in such a shallow area, and you only fight it in, like, 2 zones. It's just annoying to fight. Obviously, you've got the mud that you think you have to get off with water, and then use electricity for the actual hide of the monster, which they've sort of evolved on a lot more recently with stuff like Gogmazios, but yeah, I mean, you don't need to do it with something like this. You just beat it up with like raw damage, and yeah, it's not a good monster. So we're sort of getting to the cool monsters now, I feel. Tobi-Kadachi is dope. You know, you got like this flying squirrel snake thing going on. It's such a cool combination. It's kind of the first monster that beats you around, I feel. And obviously the first monster that can inflict Thunder Blight. But it's a really pretty looking monster aesthetically. Its longsword is the only thing I can actually remember out of its weapons. And its armor's alright. Doesn't look the best. But I do really like Tobi-Kadachi. He is really cool. I like his Turf War with Ajanath, which we've got coming up next. I don't actually know where to put it. I feel like it's maybe here, but at the same time I don't think it is. And I feel like a lot of these are just maybe here, unfortunately. Even though I don't want to, I do love them. But I think Tobi-Kadachi's cool, but I don't think it's... We'll put it there for now. We'll put it there for now. Okay, Ajanath. Now, this was one of my favourite monsters in the base game for a while. I know a lot of people don't like it and actually find it annoying, but I do really like it. You know, it's this T-Rex sort of thing, but obviously, to make it not just look like a T-Rex, they had to add the wings and the big nose kind of thing, which you can see on the icon there. And it is actually quite a cool monster in terms of the ecosystem of the Ancient Forest. You know, it almost feels like the bully. And I like how you can sort of like find its mucus around on like tree bark when it like spits it out. This was probably the first wall in the game. I know for me it probably was my first feint. I can't remember, but you know, this was a monster where I feel like I failed the quest a few times before I actually killed it. It's got a cool intro as well, where it just beefs on Great Jagras. I think you see it at least twice in the campaign. I love the move where it like does that massive fire blast, and it's got that sort of move where it has the little fire where it sort of like snots it out and makes that noise. That's a cool move. But I don't know why I've put it here, because I actually think it does go there. I really like Ajanath. I know a lot of people don't. I love the Master Rank armor. It's sick. But yeah, dope monster. You know, it was in the most of the reveal for World as well. It kind of does what Doshigama did for Wilds, where it's kind of like the semi-poster boy of the game. But yeah, really sick. Rathian. It's really hard with Rathian because it is just such a mid monster, and it's unfortunate because They keep adding Rathian and Rathalos to almost like every Monster Hunter game since the first one, and I just feel like it's not needed anymore. I get Rathalos, but I guess you've kind of got to put Rathalos or Rathian, but I feel like it kind of suffers for the monster a little bit because it doesn't really get to add much. There's only so much you can do with it. It is satisfying to fight, especially when, like, you know, what part in the game that you do fight at in most entries is sort of like the start when you've kind of got your skills going a bit more for like new players, but it's just alright. I think it goes there. Although I think this is hard. This is a really hard tier list to do because it's like they're all mid, but where to put them above each other. But I think actually, no. Keep it as that. We'll come back to it. Titsuyaku. To be honest, there's not really much I do like about it. It's a raptor, it looks alright, has the flash. Majority of the time you see it is when you're actually just fighting something big, and then it just pops in just to flash the other monster and then run off. But it's really not a lot to say about it. I want to kind of put it there, but I'm even tempted to put it here. It's just, there's nothing really to say about it. It introduced you to the Coral Highlands, and it's kind of the same with Kulu-Ya-Ku. There's not, I guess Kulu-Ya-Ku has a bit more character, but Titsuyaku, there's nothing good really to say about it. It's so, yeah, I can't say anything good about it, unfortunately. I don't really like it. Palumu, now, it's an interesting monster. It's quite cute looking. You know, it's really fluffy. It's the hot air balloon sort of thing, and it like floats around. I do like that, to be fair, and I think it inflicts sleep. And its weapons and armor are quite interesting. And it does have a few turf wars that are good. It has an airborne turf war with Legiana, and then I think it has one with Odogaron where it like bites it and is like shaking it like a ragdoll. But for me, I feel like Palumu belongs there. I don't think we've had a bat monster before. I still like it, but it's just, yeah, it's not. I don't think it warrants being in a B tier, unfortunately. Great Gyros, I think, is even worse than Gyrototus. At least Gyrototus actually, you know, it sort of looks alright, but Great Gyros is such a waste of a slot, and I hate when they do this. It's the only thing in the game, really, from what I can see and remember, that actually inflicts paralysis, so a lot of the paralysis weapons are going to be from this guy, but yeah, don't like the colour. The armor's ugly. I mean, even the monster looks ugly. It just gives me a weird vibe, and I just don't like it. It's kind of like Titsuyaku. It's just unfortunately got nothing going for it. It just feel like one of those monsters just being in the roster for like monster's sake. Now, Radobon, I think is how you pronounce it. Radobon, whatever. He's okay. He's not the best. I don't really like the whole Uragaan, Radobon sort of big chin monster that they do. To be honest, it's weird that this is kind of its own monster. It almost looks like a subspecies of Uragaan. I would have actually preferred if they did that, because it would have given Uragaan a new subspecies in New World Onwards, because he hasn't got one at the moment. Not that we really need it, but that would have been an interesting take to do. I do like fighting this monster because it is satisfying how many parts you break off, so that is cool. And it suits the Rotten Veil, to be fair. I can see a monster that would use bones, dead flesh, which we'll have coming up soon, to actually, like, you know, have a bit of armor, or, you know, it's just a graveyard, so it does suit being in that locale. I do like its turf war with Odogaron as well, and I do like it more than Palumu, but yeah, it's just, I think a lot of people are the same with me with these sort of looking monsters are kind of just ugly, unfortunately, but it's alright. Legiana, probably the most annoying roar in the whole of the game, maybe even the whole of the franchise. I don't want to put a staple on that because there's probably some that I'm forgetting, but I feel like some of these have got to come down. I like you better, but yeah. I don't... Elegiana looks cool, but it is very irritating to fight. It's fast, it stays in the air quite a lot, and aerial monsters do just have a habit of getting on my nerves. But it's cool design. I do really like its armor and its weapons. They look quite sleek, but yeah, it's got a few interesting turf wars, but it's just a pain in the ass to fight, unfortunately. Not much else to say really on that. I'm looking at the B tier and I'm tempted to move some stuff down. No, I think that's fair. Odogaron. Now we're starting to get into the really cool beefy stuff. This is such a sick monster. I'm almost tempted to put it in S tier. I even think it actually does deserve that. But looking at some of the other monsters, I want to leave it there, but it's definitely top of A tier. The design of it is sick, you know, it's like this sort of hellhound kind of thing going on-ish. Sort of lizard, it's sort of got that like Japanese, sort of Chinese mythological kind of tone to it with the armour and its skin. It's got that really cool thing it does where like the claws kind of come out on top of the other claws. Really dope. First monster in the game that actually inflicts bleeding as well, so that's cool. Always have another ailment. But it's just so aggressive and I love it. It just fucks with everything, and it's just, I love those type of monsters where they just don't give a shit and they're just like sort of batshit crazy. But yeah, dope monster, really enjoy it, and it's probably one of the best monsters of the base game, to be fair, and I want to see it again. Rathalos, flagship of the franchise. Now, after World, so Wilds, I put it in A tier, because I've already seen kind of the evolved Rathalos. But for me, I feel like Rathalos in World is S tier. It feels completely different to any entry before it. It actually is a lot more aggressive while still keeping that sort of classical Monster Hunter moveset. You know, you got the typical tail swipes, but this version it's just so much more in the air, but not enough for it to be annoying. It utilises its fire a lot as well, which I really enjoy, and it feels a lot more threatening in the scenes throughout the campaign of the game. It really sort of utilises the King of the Skies title, and I love the armour and the weapons. I really enjoy how when an armour set's kind of like typical knight chainmail, but it's got piece of the armour on it, and it's not too over the top. It's one of my favourite things about the games is those type of armours. But yeah, I love Rathalos. I'm getting a little sick of it at the moment being in every game, but I guess it has to be. But in World it was just a breath of fresh air, and it's what the monster represents, is how much the series has evolved throughout the fights, etc. But I feel like there's something else I wanted to say about it. Yes, that's it. It feels like the apex of the Ancient Forest, which it clearly is. You know, Anjanath's kind of that sort of bully of the Ancient Forest, like I said, and then Rathalos has that turf where it picks it up and it throws it and burns it. You know, what we saw in the reveal trailer, so yeah, I love Rathalos, and I think it deserves being an S tier for this entry in World. I also like how it has the nest on top of the Ancient Forest. I think that's sick. You know, birds always choose like the highest roost type thing. And then you also have the dam as well at the top of there, which is the first time you use it and see it. So, yeah, I think that's fair. Diablos. Diablos is a really cool monster. However, like Rathalos, I am getting a little bit sick of seeing it. It doesn't really change too much from its previous entries. However, I do kind of like that about it, how it is just a very like charge monster, but because it doesn't have any ailments, there's only so much it can do, I guess. But in terms of like design, it's such a sick looking monster. Its armor's alright, its weapons are alright. I do love how it has a turf war bar off and it just bashes it. It's sick. And I love how it like topples over Glavenus. Really dope. But yeah, I think it belongs there. Not really too much to say about it. It's just cool. Kirin. Probably one of the most annoying monsters in the game to fight. Master Rank is even worse. It's actually very hard. But I really do like Kirin. I think it's got a really sick design. For an Elder Dragon, even though it's not a dragon, it kind of has an interpretation that it is with its like scaly skin. It's got a very like narrow face, but yeah, Kirin's always been cool. Just annoying, unfortunately, and the armor looks really dumb. It's got the luck skill, I think, is what from what I can remember. But you do fight it very early in the game. I completely forgot how early you fight it, to be honest, for an Elder Dragon as well. But probably, yeah, I was going to say one of the easiest, but it's actually not. Not really much else to say about it. I do like its lore with Rajang, which we'll probably get to later. But dope monster. I love how the Coral Highlands kind of turns like a lightning storm when it comes as well. So, yeah, cool. Zorah Magdaros. Now, very controversial monster. I know a lot of people hate it, and it is a boring fight, to be fair. They try to do something where the actual monster is a map in its sense. Well, not a map, but it's an area. So, it was cool what they did, but unfortunately, I don't think it works. Which is a shame. I do want to move this around a little. No, actually, you do stay there. It has some cool lore implications in the story where it's trying to get through, and they don't want it to destroy everything, but it's just very boring, the fight, and it's very tedious and it's slow. Unfortunately, I feel like they could have done something with it, and I like the concept, but as a monster, it's pretty awful, unfortunately. Dodogama, the meme monster. Kind of has the same thing with Puku Puku. It's very cute. I do love it, and I actually enjoy fighting it, to be fair. But I think it belongs... I do prefer it to Rathian, to be fair. Sort of same skeleton as Great Jagras. I like how it has like the coal that it spits out, the big sort of magma balls. It's got the big sort of like chin where it has, I think it has the ore on it. I can't exactly remember. It eats ore, that was it, it eats ore. But yeah, just a cute lizard. Not really much to say about it. It took the fandom by complete storm when World came out. And yeah, it's very cute. I like him. Pink Rathian. There's not really much to say about it. It's just Rathian, but pink. I probably like it a bit better than normal one, to be honest. Getting the scales for this monster was such a bitch in the base game. Really ruined kind of the flow of the game for me. No, that's not really typically Rathian's fault. But it's just, yeah, I feel like with some of these subspecies, there's not much to say about them, because they don't really offer that much, unless they're like a different type. Whereas Rathian's just... Pink Rathian, just Rathian, but pink. Not much to say. Bazelgeuse. Now, this is an S tier monster, man. Love everything about it. The theme, the roar it has is very unique. It has the mover. It's like just pretty much like a fucking nuke. What do people call it? It's like a bomb plane. I'm really bad at planes, so don't expect me to know what plane they call it, but everyone sort of says it's that, which is quite funny, as it literally does drop bombs on you as well. Really cool monster. Love its turtle with Deviljho as well. Its armor's sick, especially the master rank armor. But yeah, it was a good surprise, that was. Sort of towards the end of the game, it was nice to have a sort of tough new monster, and I feel like Bazelgeuse definitely does steal that show. I think it also introduces tempered monsters as well, from what I can remember, but yeah, definitely S tier for Bazelgeuse, he's dope. Levisioth is, I think, how you pronounce it, if I can remember. I absolutely hate fighting this monster, can't stand it. It has that point in the fight where it like moltens up, and then it hardens as well. I think, honestly, when I played World, I think I played all the way through it without actually fighting Levisioth, because I just didn't care, and I completely forgot about the monster, and I think I only had to fight it because like a certain piece of gear that I needed from it. It's just Gyarados, but worse. And again, with same sort of thing with Radaban, like, I wish they just made it a subspecies of Gyarados. Like, I don't see why it needed to be a new monster, because that is literally a subspecies of that, so It's just silly making it a complete new monster, but I think it was in Freedom, or Freedom 2, or no, Freedom Unite, I'm pretty sure, where this was the first time we saw the monster, I think. But I think originally it's a Frontier monster, from what I can remember. But yeah, don't like Levisioth. Just Piss Scheme Wyverns in general just suck. Uragaan. Now, although sometimes, to be fair to it, it can be a decent fight. I do appreciate shooting it with pods and it kind of like topples over when it's spinning. But I actually prefer Radaman to it. Again, kind of literally the same thing I said. It's just an ugly monster, unfortunately. But it hits you a bit around. It's fairly easy to fight, but I've just never liked Uragaan. I hated it when it first introduced in 3. Nothing really cool to say about it, unfortunately. Oh my god, there really are some bad monsters in this game, but Azor Rathalos can fuck off. I hate fighting this monster. It doesn't look as cool, to be honest, as I actually remember it. I remember in, like, I think it was 3 Ultimate, where the wings were a lot more green, and the blue was a lot more, like, turquoise kind of colour, and the sort of horn, spike, and sort of stinger thing on its tail was more, like, predominantly red and white, but in World, it just feels so bland, and it's constantly in the air. It's the bad things about Rathalos, like, pushed up to, like, 11, unfortunately. Yeah, it did ruin Azor Rathalos for me. It's kind of got the same thing as Levisioth, where you don't even really need to fight it. But, unless obviously you want to upgrade your Rathalos weapons, but yeah, I hate Azor Rathalos, I think it's awful. Do I put it even lower? I think actually I'm tempted to put it lower. We'll keep it there, because I do like Rathalos, but Azor is just... You can go there, actually. Black Diablos. Now, this is a really cool monster to look at, appealing. It's very appealing to look at. I prefer it to normal Diablos, and I really appreciate how they kind of did like a same monster turf war, kind of giving a bit of homage to, I think it was Freedom, the ecology scene, where you see them like 2 Diablos fighting each other, so it's really cool that it has a turf war with its normal version. Unfortunately, there's not really much to say about it in terms of like moveset or fight. It literally is the same monster, just black. But I remember it being like a real pain in the ass to like actually unlock the hunt in World. I can't actually remember how you do it. I think you have to get like scales or something, but yeah, I want to put it above Odogar, and I really do like the look of it. It is really sick, but 8 is fine, I think. Nergigante, now the flagship of Worlds, second Elder Dragon you fight. This monster grew on me very, very quickly. I think when I first saw it, I didn't actually like the design. I thought it was a little too, I don't know, it's how it's like its posture and its stands, it just looks kind of odd, and I do feel like its horns are way too big, but it did grow on me a lot. I love the lore of the monster, you know, how it can like, it's the eater of elder dragons, and it keeps the ecosystem in balance, kind of like a Godzilla 2014 vibe it's got going on. I love its turf wars of the other elder dragons, where they just proper like bash against each other and it like throws it down. It's got all the spikes as well, but I think that's what makes it cool, is that it doesn't need an element. It's kind of like Tigrex, where it's just a fun fight and it's cool on its own. It doesn't need an element to actually hold itself. It's got the thorns and the bleeding, which are actually, you know, kind of the thing for the monster that's got going on. But I love the colour as well. I love the orange and a bit of the pink that you've got going on there, just to vibrate it up a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy with Nergigante. I think it's really cool. Really solid flagship. I love its armour as well, and its weapons are so cool. Teostra has grown on me a little bit, but unfortunately, I'm not really a fan of it. I think it's alright. I'm tempted to put it even lower, to be honest. It's just okay. I actually prefer you to it. I don't really like you, but I think I prefer it to that. Yeah, that's fair. It's just okay. It's quite a mighty looking monster. It's, you know, a lion that's on fire. The actual like concept of it's cool, but the fight's alright. I do like the moves that dragons do in Monster Hunter. I think a couple of them couple other of them do it, where like it's flying and it's actually like burning like a dragon. That's probably my favourite move that it has. I think it has like a big explosion move as well, but I think we've just seen too much of it, unfortunately. It's a very easy Elder Dragon to like cross over into games, just because it shares the same skeleton as a lot of the others. But yeah, it's the only it's just meh. A meh Elder Dragon. I'm gonna get so much hate for this, man, but I can't put it in S tier, but Kushaladora is actually one of my favourite Elder Dragons. It's the first Elder Dragon that I ever fought back in, like, I think it was Freedom 2. But I just love the design of it. I love how it's all, like, metal, and it has, like, the sound effects of the wind going past the metal. And there's not really a monster in Monster Hunter that controls wind like Kushaladora, apart from stuff like Amatsu, I guess, but the fight in world is really bad. Like, it's a really bad fight design wise. There's a lot of times you can't even hit it. I don't know if they fixed that in Master Rank, I can't quite remember, but the fight really does suck. It's a lot better in Rise, I know, as well. But yeah, I love Kusha. It's always has a place in my heart. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people do hate it, but design-wise carries it a lot for me. So even though I know technically it's not A tier, and I know so many people are going to disagree, for me, I love the design of it, and I've always loved him. Valhazak, you are going there. Tempted to put you above you, but I'll leave you there. But yeah, Valhazak is probably the first, well, I mean, yeah, well, apart from Basilgeuse and Nogante, it's really one of the first monsters that feels so unique and different. There's nothing really like it, maybe apart from stuff like Nakarkos and previous entries, but yeah, just love the whole design of it, how hellish and evil it looks. You know, it's got all the layer of the rotten flesh, and even when you go into the area, you have to like push past bones. Such a sick monster. I remember struggling with it a lot when I first fought it, because I think it's called the Effluvium, sorry if I said that wrong, really was something so unexpected that we hadn't seen before. So it brings that to the game as well. Its design is so cool, its intro cutscene is sick, both its master rank and base armor are probably one of the sickest in the game, and its weapons do look pretty cool as well. The only thing that I actually remember it turfs with is Odogaron. Really sick turf war, by the way, but I do wish it kind of had more to do in the ecosystem. However, I kind of do also appreciate that it's in its own lair at the bottom of the Rotten Vale. Yeah, Apex of the Rotten Vale is perfect for this monster, so I love it. It's great. Xeno'jiiva, the baby Elder Dragon. It's okay. It's alright. I don't really know what to say about it. Its fight's very cool. It's quite cinematic when you fight it for the first time. You know, it's got the whole lore thing, the story, where it's like stealing all the energy from the new world, which is also one thing I actually do like about the game. It's very Elder Dragon focused, where most Elder Dragons come to the new world to die in the Rotten Vale, and then that energy goes down to the bottom, and that's where you fight Xeno'jiiva. It's just cool, but I don't think it's better as like more impactful than some of the other monsters that you do fight. I do feel like the fight, as cinematic and as cool as it is, it's alright. Yeah, it's a good base game end boss to have, but not quite S tier for me, although the armor is really, really cool. Deviljho, my second favourite monster of all time, and to be honest, I think S tier is completely fair for it. It's a fan favourite. You know, there's not really any monsters like it, as aggressive as Deviljho. I love the lore, how it's like, you know, It's starving, it's constantly hungry because of the dragon element using up all its energy. It's just such a brutal monster. It even eats its own, like, kind. And I think the only time it doesn't is when it, like, releases a pheromone to mate. I wish the armor was a bit cooler. The weapons are sick, though. I will give it that. But this was the first title update of World from what I can remember, and it was so close to giving us the death of the handler, but unfortunately it didn't quite fall through. But yeah, very unexpected. Did not expect this to come in the end game of World, but it's definitely well deserved and well welcomed. It has a lot of the, like, soft turf wars with stuff like Kuruyaku. I think it picks up great. It does pick up great Jagus, actually. It's in the cutscene, but it even picks up Odogaron and is, like, ragging it around in its mouth. But it really does just take the spot as, like, the invader monster. So I love Devil Joe. It's an amazing monster. A little bit biased, obviously, because it's my second favourite monster, like I said, but I think its fight is really dope. I love the dragon element that it possesses as well. So, yeah. Right, now, speaking of controversial monsters, this one probably takes the crown for them, because it's probably the most annoying fight in the game, but also very hard and challenging. How it has that, like, blue fire effect. I can't remember quite what it's called, but just an absolute pain in the ass to fight. And I feel like a lot of the monsters in this game are a pain in the asses to fight. I think they were testing the waters of what they could get away with and what they couldn't with World because it was so new. But the only thing I do like about Lanustra is the bond sort of attack it has with Teostra, where they, like, fly around each other. I do like the cutscene where you see it in the arena save Teostra from Nergigante, but I'm not a fan of the weapons and armor. Oh, actually no, the weapons are cool, but I think you have to combine them with, like, Xeno'jiiva and some of the other ones. I can't quite remember, it's been a while, but hate it, can't stand it. Part of me wants to put it in here, but yeah, I'm gonna put it there. I almost want to put you even lower, because you are just, there's nothing at all that I like about Azor Rathalos. Yeah, Lanustra's not the best, unfortunately. What is the best, however, is Kolv Taroth. Yeah, that's fair. I think this is the third title update monster, and it's kind of what really cemented a good siege fight in World, and it played with the same system that Safi'jiiva has, where it's like the whole hub is trying to fight the monster, which is such a cool idea. I'm not sure what other people's opinions are on that, but it's got the own, like, area that it has, the Caverns of El Dorado. Its master rank fight is really cool, where it goes on the ceiling and, like, burns all the gold. Theme wise of the monster, just this big gold lumbering lizard, and you have to break the horns to kill it. It's just a really dope monster, and I love the weapons and the armor as well. It was very new to the game, and I think it's what a lot of people needed for that sort of end game grind. But design wise, I love it, and I really do want to see it again. Leshen, it's okay, and I'm just going to put the Ancient Leshen there as well, because there's not too much really to say about it. There were other choices of monsters which I think they could have done from The Witcher rather than Ancient Leshen. I do appreciate that we got a Witcher crossover, to be fair, but, you know, apart from the quest actually being pretty cool, I do actually like the quest. I like how you save Puku Puku at the end, and the quest is quite interesting. However, it can be a bit tedious when you have to do it multiple times just to get a piece of gear. The actual Leshen itself it's alright. It's not really even a monster because you can only fight it as Geralt. Yeah, don't really need it. Part of me even wants to put it lower. I think I'm actually going to. Do you know what? Anything's better than Great Gyros, but yeah, Leshen's just... It's not a bad crossover in general, but the monster itself is just... Ugh. However, a good crossover monster is Behemoth. So I actually didn't fight Behemoth in my first playthrough of World. I do remember fighting it on my second playthrough, and I remember it being very hard. And a lot of people will agree with that, and I've actually never killed it. So there's not too much for me to say about this monster, unfortunately. So I know it is an A-tier monster, I know a lot of people like it, and it is cool from what I fought it with. It has that one-hit move that it does as well, from what I can remember, but unfortunately I haven't fought it enough to put it any higher than that. Although I do definitely think it is a lot better than these monsters that I've put there. But yeah, not much to say, just a very cool collab. I don't want another Final Fantasy collab, so Capcom, if you're listening, which I know you definitely are, please stop making Final Fantasy collabs, because we've had enough now. But it does that thing as well where it holds Dodogama in its mouth, which is very sad. But very cool monster, very intimidating to fight as well. But unfortunately, with World, as good as the game is, the roster is pretty weak. I can't lie. There's a lot of solid monsters, you know, which I think a lot of people agree these are. But a lot of them are pretty bad. There's not many that are good, unfortunately. Not a lot of the monsters feel unique. However, what I do appreciate a lot about these fights is they do feel very Monster Hunter-y, if that makes sense. Well, that's not a word, but yeah, they keep that classical monster feel whilst also maintaining a bit of a new sort of twist on them. But yeah, a lot of the new monsters unfortunately didn't really hit home for me. Even the returning monsters, some of the choices like Uragaan, I'm trying to think of some other ones here, yeah, like Uragaan, I just feel like the returning monsters, like even Barroth, they could have been better. But I do love World. I appreciate that game so much. It was really what got me back into Monster Hunter. But unfortunately, roster's not the best. But it's not bad. It's just an okay roster. But I do want to put you there. That's the only thing that's bugging me. But apart from that, I think that's okay. Let me know what you guys think of that. We will be doing the Master Rank monsters, the Iceborne monsters, in another video, because I'm sure this video is already long enough because I jamber on about monsters from Monster Hunter so much, because I'm just very passionate about them all. I love the monsters in Monster Hunter. As bad as some of these monsters are, as monsters go, they're all you know, Monster Hunter monsters are great. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you disagree. Tell me what your favourite monsters are. Tell me some monsters that you would have put in S tier, some of the monsters that you would put in F tier. But please come back for the Iceborne one, which we'll be doing next time. And yeah, hope you guys have a good day. So take care.